Hey, it's Jeff Zito. Thanks again for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber podcast. Kind of trying to get a feel for if celebrities weren't famous for what they became famous for, like what we know them from. If they never reached that level of fame, maybe they would have been another working stiff, kind of just like you and me, you know? You can check out past episodes online at CelebrityJobber.com. Streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, we're on all of them. So please subscribe. Would love a 5-star rating and leave a review. You can also follow on Instagram, celebrity_jobber_podcast, or youtube.com/the@CelebrityJobber. It's a really fun project for me. I love talking to people. I love interviewing celebrities. And I love finding out what their life used to be before fame. Not to mention, sometimes I get to talk to people who I really admire. And this week, I'm talking to one of them. One of my biggest regrets in life is not seeing the band Rush. I actually had tickets for their 40th anniversary tour, and for whatever reason, I didn't go, and it haunts me to this day because it was just a few short years after that 40th anniversary tour that legendary Rush drummer Neil Peart passed away from his bout with brain cancer. It was really sad. It was sudden. It was private. Nobody saw it coming except his inner circle. And again, to this day, it haunts me that I didn't go to see Rush. And today, their 50th anniversary box set, Rush 50, hits stores. Alex Lifeson was the sound of Rush, the driving force, that guitar so recognizable. And think about it, after 40 some odd years with the band Rush, which was his main job, he has now found a new job, meaning he is in a new band. Kind of a really cool younger rock band. They're called Envy of None, and they're definitely starting to make some noise. We'll talk to Rush's iconic guitarist Alex Lifeson about what he's doing today, his friendship with Geddy Lee from Rush, and if there's maybe a chance that we'll ever get to hear that music live. Was there a big break in the career of Alex Lifeson? We all know the story about the DJ at WMMS in Cleveland, Donna Halpern, who broke the band's single Workin' Man back in '74. We'll ask Alex about his friend, legendary Rush drummer, the late, great Neil Peart, and so much more. I'm so excited today. Oh, yeah, and what did Alex Lifeson do before Rush? Has he ever had a regular job? And what was his first job? I'm so excited for today. Rush guitarist Alex Lifeson is my guest right here on Celebrity Jobber.
The Celebrity Jobber podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
Hey, Alex, how are you, man?
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing so great. It's an
good.
honor to talk to you today. And, you know, I guess I hear you lost a lot of weight, by the way. How did you do that? You didn't look like you have 30 pounds to lose.
Well, I wish I could say it was as simple as just taking shots of Ozempic, but I had surgery in 2003 for my stomach, and the surgery was very complicated. I had a lot of problems afterwards. So in January, I went to a clinic in Austria that focuses on this sort of stuff. And after living with nausea for about a year, they got me eating properly, eating the right foods. I buy all my own foods. I cook my own foods. I don't drink alcohol, an occasional glass of wine, but I really don't drink anymore. They just changed my life. It was such an amazing experience. In the process of that surgery, over that year and a half, and particularly over this last 2 months, I've lost a total of about 38 pounds.
Wow.
So I'm feeling good, and finally on a good track.
Right on. Now, I do a podcast about celebrities' jobs and first jobs. And when I look at you and your career, I would kind of compare this to like a regular person that's not in showbiz, that has, a regular person's kind of job, as having a job for 40 plus years and then leaving that job and starting a new job. And I kind of say that about you with your new band, which is Envy of None. And I do a radio show, a bunch of them, one in Detroit, but the one in New Jersey plays Envy of None. And when I first heard Under the Stars, I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I found out that you were in the band. So I guess the question is, after 40 plus years of doing something, having a completely different job, is that tough to, change jobs like that after such a long career?
Well, my first job was an awesome job, and I so enjoyed it. And it came to an end when it did. And I was maybe a little forced into a retirement, but there was no way I could do that. I played golf for a bit, and I realized that that's maybe the worst thing you could do in your retirement.
Really?
That drives you insane.
Oh man, I was really looking forward to that. Damn it.
But I'm sorry. But when this opportunity came up to start working on some new music with different people, I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cool. And then once I dove into it and really got a sense of the quality of musicianship from the other musicians in this outfit, well, it just became such a joy to work on it. And so organic and so exciting and so new and fresh. I mean, I think with the first record, I was a little conscious of, my background. So, really downplayed the guitars a lot and tried to disguise them and make them sound like different instruments. But I feel much more confident to, reveal some of my past in the work that I'm doing now. Like, this is me. I love music, and I love playing all kinds of music. And this is just another path and another road to another beautiful place. And I feel so fortunate and so blessed. It's inspired me so much. I mean, I just can't believe how excited I am about playing guitar. I mean, I've always played guitar pretty steadily, but now I'm playing for hours every day, and I can't wait to sit down and play. And, every night I play for an hour before I go to bed. I keep a couple of guitars in my bedroom, and play without fail for an hour every night, partly as an exercise, but mostly because I absolutely adore it.
Right. Now, Alex, a lot of people, they just think, and I just want to let everybody know that isn't familiar maybe with Envy of None. Like Alex, the driving force of Rush's sound, you listen to Envy of None, you're not going to hear that. It's a completely different vibe. So how is that, Alex? You have this thing, right? You have like a sound, a signature sound, and then you regroup with some different people and your sound becomes something completely different. Is there any way to explain that to regular people, or is that just something that happens organically?
It is organic. It's the weird brain that I have. If you listen to Rush over 40 years, and if you listen to the guitar specifically and the tonality of the guitar, I spent a lot of time searching for different tones, song to song, and worked with Terry Brown for so many years, who was great at doing that, exploring different tones. With Envy of None, I get to continue that. So I'm always searching for a different way of expressing a guitar, because really all you're doing is you're using this vehicle to express your emotions, and the guitar for me is like a very powerful pen, and I get to write in so many ways. Or maybe a paintbrush is a better way to describe it.
Right.
And I get to use that paintbrush in so many different ways. So I feel fortunate, and it's a curse sometimes to be looking for something different all the time. But ultimately, it is really satisfying. I mean, it's fine. Certainly, David Gilmour has an amazing tone that's very identifiable, and don't go changing, David. But I can't help but look for different things all the time.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito.
For those who don't know, there was a Canadian documentary done in the early 70s called Come On Children. And it pretty much documents the troubled teenager subculture. And one of the kids in the documentary was a 17-year-old Alex Lifeson. And there's footage of him arguing with his parents at the dinner table about him wanting to become a musician. They also use that footage in some other Rush documentaries. And you're sitting at the dinner table and you're telling them that you want to be a professional musician. And they're immigrants. They're from Yugoslavia, and they're raising you in Toronto. Can you tell me how you got through to them, or at least got their blessing where you felt comfortable enough to go ahead and pursue this dream? Because it seemed like even though this argument was happening, in this documentary when you were younger, it does seem that you were close with them and looking for their blessing.
Well, I guess it was prescient. I was 17 years old and I was rebellious, like most 17-year-olds are. And I wanted to do things my own way, and I had a lot of belief in myself. And I think I knew from a young age that music was going to be my life, probably when I was 10 or 11 years old. I think for my parents, they wanted me to be, have a good career and a good job and to be able to support a family and all of that stuff. They came from the Second World War. That was important for them to have that stability. But I don't think I don't think they felt confident until they actually saw me on a TV program. We were being interviewed on a TV program in Toronto, and they realized, oh my God, he's an entertainer. That's what he is. And he's on the TV. This is amazing. He's going to be okay. And then after that, things were fine.
They were okay. You can't blame them, honestly. I mean, because what happened to you is, kind of a one in a zillion kind of thing. So did you ever have a job outside of music, Alex? Like, can you tell me what your first job was ever?
Yeah, I was 14 years old. I got a part-time job at Dominion grocery store in the meat department. So I was serving customers, burgers and burger meat and chops and steaks. And I was cutting meat in the back and all that kind of stuff. I was getting paid $1 an hour. And that was the first job I had.
And any more jobs outside of music?
Sure. Yeah. When, there was a lull in around 1971 in the summer. This was just before they lowered the drinking age to 18 from 21 in Ontario. So we were gigging once or twice a month, playing high schools, and in the summer, in those high schools. So we didn't work very much. So I got a job working at a gas station, full time from 7 until 4:30 or something, every day, 5 days a week for $59 a week.
Wow.
And I did that for, I think, 3 months. Yeah. And for outside of music, those were the only jobs I think I had.
Wow.
Fortunately, after they lowered the drinking age, we started playing bars and clubs all over the place. So we had steady work 6 days a week.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. Celebrity Jobber.
Can you remember, was there a specific moment? I mean, I know all of the, history, but I want to hear from your viewpoint, like the big break, if there was one that you could say that pushed you into the next level where you were like, hey, my life is going to be different from this point forward. What was that moment? Do you remember? Was it something specific or was it gradual over time?
It was very gradual over time. I think getting our U.S. Record deal was a turning point, certainly, and that was in the summer of 1974. And just the prospect of touring America and having the opportunity to make 5 records, it was just unbelievable. And the thing is, it's not like you get a break. It's an opportunity comes by, and it all depends on how you address that opportunity. And some people just sit back and think it's all going to happen, and sometimes that does happen. But in our case, we had an opportunity, and it was like, okay, we've got to be prepared to work hard if we want to make this work. And those first few tours that we did, there was 250 shows a year, plus we were making 2 records a year. And it was hard, but it was heavenly. We just loved it. It was just our dreams come true. And even with 2112, 2112 was a pivotal record for us, but it wasn't a hit out of the gate. It took a year for it to develop into the kind of record acceptance that it got. And the same thing for Moving Pictures, a little less so with Moving Pictures. It was a little more immediate, but we always tried to look at those opportunities for moving forward. And with Rush, maybe it's in the name, we're always moving forward in a hurry.
And a 50th anniversary box set is coming out. There's so much talk about you still jamming with Geddy every week. Is that true, number one? And number two, is there ever going to be an opportunity for fans to hear some of the old Rush songs?
Well, I'm so focused on what I'm doing now, and I'm working on other projects too, a documentary that's becoming a bigger and bigger project. Listen, I've been playing guitar beside Geddy since I was 13 years old. For most of my adolescence and adult life. So I love doing that. We both love doing that. He's my best friend in the world. I talk to him every day like you do with your best friends. I go over, his place and, we sit around, we drink coffee, we joke, we laugh, we play tennis, we do all the stuff that you do in a normal relationship with your best friends. We have this history. So there's always some interest or some desire or some hope that we would do something together again. I would say right now we're just being buddies and having a good time doing the stuff that we've always been doing. The world is a crazy world right now. Things change not by the day but by the second. So who knows what the future brings? I could be dead tomorrow, but
right.
Anything is possible. A tour with Envy of None is a really exciting idea. So there are lots of things. So who knows?
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. Celebrity Jobber.
A new album, Envy of None. It comes out on March 28th. What's the title of the album, Alex? I don't want to mispronounce it because I'm a bad at grammar and spelling and pronunciation.
That's okay. It's Stygian Waves, and it's spelt phonetically on the album cover, so that we wanted to help people along.
Oh, okay.
With the proper
You understood people like me. Okay. Stygian Waves is the new album from Envy of None. It hits stores on March 28th. What a pleasure, Alex. One final question, if you wouldn't mind, if there's something you could say about your friend who's no longer with us, Neil Peart. Could you say something about your friendship, something maybe personal or something that nobody really knew about Neil?
I miss that guy every day. It was very, very difficult, obviously, to go through that whole experience as his illness, took its toll. But since it's been 5 years now, so now when I think of Neil, I just think of his smiling, happy face and the wonderful ability and blessing of being able to make him laugh hysterically. I somehow I had this thing that I could make him just break down into choking laughter. And that's kind of what I focus on. And I remember, obviously, he was a musician beyond anything anyone could imagine. But I'm fortunate in that I've passed the grieving, and now I just have the great memories of my buddy.
Alex Lifeson, Envy of None, new album, March 28th, and the box set Rush 50 now available. A huge fan of Rush, and we've never spoke before, and I was excited to have that opportunity.
Thank you so much, Jeff. All the best.
It is really interesting to check out some of that footage from when Alex was a 17-year-old kid, either in that Canadian documentary, which is called Come On Children, or the Rush documentary Beyond the Lighted Stage. It's really cool to see Alex at 17 years old having this conversation with his immigrant parents about becoming a star, becoming a professional musician in a rock band. Obviously, there was a disconnect, but when Alex told the story of finally his parents seeing him perform on TV and they're like, oh, he's an entertainer. I thought that was great. We all know about the story. Donna Halpern, WMMS in Cleveland. She was the first to play Rush's Working Man here in the States. That song became a hit and pretty much launched the career of the band shortly after that. But Alex says Rush's success was pretty gradual. Talks about the album 2112. At the time it came out, not really a big hit, which is obviously a different story today. Without the legendary drummer Neil Peart, who is also the main lyricist for the band, could we ever see those songs performed live from Alex and bassist Geddy Lee? Because as I mentioned in the interview, I hear Alex and Geddy are jamming like every week. Alex pretty much leaves the door open. He goes, look, without Neil, it's pretty tough to play Rush songs, because he was just such a huge part of the band. Talks about Geddy Lee being his best friend in the whole world. So getting together with him once a week to jam on old songs, it's kind of what friends do. He's focused on other things like his new band Envy of None, but he didn't say getting back with Geddy and playing some Rush songs live was out of the question. I think at some point these guys are definitely going to want to play these songs for the fans. And I definitely won't be missing that show if and when it happens. First job, Alex worked at a grocery store for $1 an hour, and he also worked at a gas station earlier in Rush's career, where he made $59 a week. Those were his only two regular jobs outside of music. It was so great to talk to Alex Lifeson, especially when they're cool. That's not always the case, but it was today, and I'm pretty happy about it. And I'm happy that you checked out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast, streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Past episodes and guests online at celebrityjobber.com. Wherever you listen, please subscribe. Would love a 5-star rating. Leave a review. Pretty sure Alex Lifeson wouldn't be working at a gas station or at a grocery store if he never made it with the band Rush. Good thing he didn't have to worry about that. I think he probably would have been successful with those strict parents of his. Again, thank you for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast. Until next week, see you then. I'm Jeff Zito.